Hey there, girlfriend. Are you ready to learn today? I've got my therapist in training hat on today as we're going to be diving into some very high level neuroscience theory to help you understand why quick fixes like keto, fad diets, and cleanses are just so dang alluring to us sometimes. The neuroscience theory that I'm going to be diving into today is called polyvagal theory, if you'd like to read a little bit more about it yourself. And today I'm going to actually be taking that theory and applying it to what happens in our brains and bodies when we feel compelled to choose a quick fix over something more sustainable, even if we feel we know, quote unquote, logically, that it's not going to work for us long term. So, I've talked to a lot of women about their health and fitness goals over the years. And one of the most common things that I hear is, I'm just going to do keto, or I'm just going to do low carb, or I'm just going to do insert whatever fad diet here for a jump start, right? Or I'm going to do it just to kickstart my fat loss. And then once I get going, then I'm going to shift into something more sustainable. Have you ever said that to yourself? Or maybe to me in the past? Have you been one of those conversations that I've had? So there's been many. So if you've ever said this before, whether it's to me or to yourself or to someone else, you probably were feeling a lot of things at once. Maybe it was a mix of guilt and anxiety and, that intense urge to act right now to make yourself feel better. And maybe you were thinking thoughts like, how could I let things get this bad? Or why didn't I do something about this sooner, right? Or I shouldn't have eaten all that crap, that I did through the holidays. Maybe those are the kinds of thoughts you're having. And you're feeling like you need to urgently do something to fix this problem and make yourself feel like you've got it all under control in order to actually start feeling better, right? So maybe in the moment, you signed up for that program or you like really excitedly told your spouse, partner, friend, coworker, whoever that, you're really serious about dieting this time. Like you really need to change your eating habits for good. And this time is going to be the time, right? Does this resonate with any of you? Have you been there before? So essentially, the process that I was just talking about really goes like this. So, you have a thought or a feeling that motivates you to act. You start feeling guilty, you start feeling anxious or whatever, like you need to do something right now to feel better. And then you do something drastic in order to make yourself feel better, right? We're taking action to get ourselves to stop feeling better. That action that we're taking is to say, okay, I'm going to do keto, or okay, diet starts tomorrow, or okay, whatever it is, right? We're jumping on it right now to feel better. And so what's happening in that moment is the rational part of your brain, so the prefrontal cortex, is going offline. Okay, so you're shifting in those moments into a sympathetic nervous system state, something that you might have heard before called fight or flight mode, right? Anybody heard of that before? So that's what's happening here. We're shifting into that sympathetic nervous system state. And basically at that point in time, again, like your rational thinking brain with our executive control, our prefrontal cortex is going offline. And our more primitive brain that's really concerned with keeping us safe takes over. And later after that, you might feel better. And when your rational brain is back online, you might come to regret, vowing to do keto or, saying you're going to go low carb when like you love carbs, right? You can't give them up. Why did I say that? Why did I say that? Right? Or maybe I don't want it as badly as I thought I did. Have you ever experienced something like that where it felt so intensely important in this one moment, but then you get further away from it and it's like, do I really want it that bad, right? Or maybe as another example, like let's say you signed up for Weight Watchers or Beachbody or whatever, insert something here, right? And, it feels okay. You've made this commitment to it, like you're good with it until you realize you're going to have to miss out on the birthday cake at your child's birthday party. So you say, screw it, I'm going to quit, right? Because you weren't as committed as you were or felt like you were kind of initially, since you were being driven to act by your body essentially being in fight or flight mode at the time. And when you calm down, you feel like it's not as important to you anymore as it really felt in that moment. And so as much as we try to deny it, we are biological creatures. And all of our behaviors and decisions have very real reasons behind why we do them or why we're driven to do them, even if they don't always make sense to us at the time. Like, for example, choosing to do keto in the heat of the moment when we know we can't give up carbs forever, right? Or maybe, you're feeling like, why did I eat that? Why did I do this? Right? Even if we don't understand it always in that moment, there's always something that's driving our behavior. And essentially what's happening here is that, we're feeling guilty about how we've acted in the past when it comes to our eating habits, not exercising, whatever, right? Which is then leading us to feel bad about ourselves, maybe even feeling like there's something wrong with us. And then that causes us on a very subconscious level to feel unsafe. So, like, your brain is not going to be thinking, I don't feel safe right now. I don't feel safe right now. Like, those are not the thoughts that are going to be going through your head. You're going to feel it in your body. You might feel tense. You might feel anxious. You might feel nervous. You might feel antsy, like you have to do something, right? So we spring into action to do whatever it takes to make ourselves feel safe, again, on that subconscious level, to make us feel like we aren't that bad or there isn't something wrong with us or whatever. And once we take action, it relieves our guilt or whatever those feelings are that are uncomfortable that we're feeling. And then we feel better. So we think that that must be the solution, right? I was feeling guilty about the fact that I ate all that pizza last night. So today I'm going to say I'm dieting, right? I'm only eating salad. In that moment, we feel better, right? But then when we get to the point where we've calmed down, we're just eating that salad, we're like, this sucks. This is not fun, right? And again, all of this happens on a subconscious level, and most of us are not even aware of this at all. And the downside to all of this really is that our rational, higher level, thinking part of our brain, again, our prefrontal cortex, is offline when we're making these kind of decisions, which means that we are not making the best, most informed decisions for ourselves when we're in this state, including committing to things like keto as a jump start, let's say, right? So what does this mean for us? So we do the quick fix to make ourselves feel better now, but then we feel worse later, right? So you guys know how it goes, right? We've all been through it. I've done it myself too. We try the quick fix, we struggle, we fail, we quit. We feel like a failure. We start to lose faith in ourselves. We start to wonder, can I ever do this? Am I actually able to do this? Or is this just something I need to accept, right? Like, raise your hand if you've been there. And then we get there, we quit, we feel like a failure, and then the cycle repeats all over again because we start feeling guilty for quitting when we do something else that doesn't make us feel good. And then we feel guilty, we feel bad about ourselves, we feel pressured to act, and then we try another quick fix. And the cycle goes around and around and around, right? So what should we do instead, right? So you're with me, you're following this neuroscience, you're following that, okay, I'm feeling pressured to act in this very specific state where I'm not feeling safe, I'm not feeling, good, I'm feeling like I need to make a decision. Okay, what should we be doing instead? So if you are feeling antsy about wanting to try a quick fix to make yourself feel better, I want you to try this instead. So first, take some deep breaths. Focusing on your out breath. This was such a huge game changer for me learning this. Everybody always knows, right? Take deep breaths to help you calm down. But breathing in actually activates your sympathetic nervous system, which is, again, getting us into that fight or flight mode that we talked about. And breathing out actually activates our parasympathetic nervous system, which is essentially our rest and digest, or like very calm and relaxed state. So we want to focus on that out breath. Okay. So deep, slow, long breaths out. So breathe in and then breathe out. Deep, slow, long out breaths. Again, activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is going to help you calm down and feel less activated. So secondly, it's important to also recognize that you're feeling compelled to act now as a way to keep yourself safe from feeling guilty, feeling bad, like whatever's going on. And in addition to recognizing that, try to acknowledge that even though you feel like you need to act now, you don't have to. And this urge is going to pass, right? If you've ever had a craving for a food and it feels so intense and for whatever reason you can't give in to that craving, maybe, you see a commercial on TV for a burger and you just ate dinner, right? So like you're not in a place where you can necessarily go get the burger, you're already full, you're not going to do it. You notice that the craving eventually passes, right? Or I'm sure you've had some experience like that, even if it hasn't been a food craving. This is the same thing. The urge will pass. We just have to recognize what's happening and acknowledge it. Also, give yourself some time before you make a decision one way or another. So maybe give yourself at least a couple days, maybe a week, but just take some time to give yourself some space. If you give yourself more time, you'll likely be able to think about this decision when your prefrontal cortex is back online, which again is your higher level thinking brain. And then you can see if this decision still feels like it's the best fit for you rather than making that decision to go for keto or whatever it is out of feeling this urgency and being driven to take action now, right? Regardless of what that means. If you're still struggling, if you try these different things and, you keep feeling like you're still struggling with feeling like you need to act urgently, or those feelings of guilt, shame, badness, all that kind of stuff is really just becoming pervasive for you, I would definitely recommend considering finding a therapist or a counselor who can help you work on these things. I know I say it all the time, but I'm going to say it again. There is no shame in seeing a therapist. I see one. I feel like we could all benefit from seeing one and having a little bit of help in that department. We all are caring about our physical health, right? It's also important to care about our mental health. Just like nobody has perfect physical health, no one has perfect mental health either. So it's important that we get help with this, right? We're not in it alone. But be sure if you are interested in working with a therapist for this, that you find someone who is nervous system informed. So don't be afraid to ask them if they utilize like polyvagal theory or, another similar theory in their work with clients. And this is really important because if they're not going to have any idea what you're talking about when you say this or what I'm talking about. So definitely important. And then finally, when you are able to re-engage your prefrontal cortex, which again is your rational, higher thinking brain, consider your goals again and see what feels like it could be a good first step for you towards achieving them, that you can kind of continue to build upon. So for example, if you're wanting to start to eat better, maybe even just starting with drinking more water or trying to eat one more vegetable a day would be a great start, right? That's a very slow, sustainable thing rather than trying to say, okay, I'm starting keto tomorrow, throw all the carbs out of the house, throw everything out, goodbye, gone, right? Very different in terms of sustainability and what you're going to be able to continue to keep up over the long term. And a good check here is if you're feeling calm when you're thinking about this, if you're feeling calm when you're making the decision, it's likely that you're not in fight or flight mode and you're going to more likely be making decisions with that prefrontal cortex again. If you go through these steps, and you feel like you could use a little bit of extra help in the nutrition and fitness department with figuring out what's sustainable for you, feel free to drop a comment below this video and we'll DM you with more information on how we can help. I hope this video has been super helpful. Sorry, this got a little bit long, but you guys know I love nerding out about science concepts and bringing them to you in an applied way. So I hope that you found this video helpful. Maybe you learned a little bit more about yourself today, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.